Good morning. Welcome back. Hey, before we get started, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for advocating on behalf of Darren Daily, sharing it on social, emailing your favorite episodes to people that you think it would make an impact on. And there are leaders from a whole slew of industries out there all over the world who, by routine, show Darren Daily during their morning huddle at the office every workday. And that's so smart. I mean, hey, I'm already doing all the hard work putting together the idea and inspiration to kickstart the day. Now, you don't have to. 80% of your huddle content is done. That is just smart outsourcing and great leadership, creating a culture of personal growth and improvement, getting better every day together. Bam! Good for you. Okay, yesterday I addressed how all of life's riches, everything you want, all that you want to experience, all that you want to become, is on the other side of hard work. And there's no shortcut. You have to go through the rugged terrain to get to the other side. You gotta earn it. You have to put in the work. Not just any work, the hard work. Working on the hard things consistently, reliably, predictably, day in and day out, over a long, sustained period of time. Not the answer for the something-for-nothing crowd that they wanted to hear, admittedly, but it is the answer. That's why so few end up at the top of the mountain. Why? Because it's hard. That's why. Remember this, to have what most won't, you have to do what most don't. In other words, you gotta do the work that most won't. Now, the follow-up question posted by this beloved Darren Daily member was, where do I begin? What should I do first? Well, the quick and dirty answer to that is, right where you are and do anything. This quandary of not knowing what to do is usually BS, a tactic that your mind uses to procrastinate or outright try to excuse itself from doing what you likely already know to do. And even if you don't know, which you could probably Google to figure out, it doesn't really matter what you do, just do anything that breaks inertia. Look, the old adage is true. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. As long as it's pointed in the general direction of the goal, any step will do. So number one, just begin where you are. If you are broke, begin broke. If you're sick, begin sick. If you're heartbroken, afraid, mad, lonely, unskilled, ugly, unsophisticated, inarticulate, uneducated, whatever, begin there. The key is to what? Just begin. I know that sounds simple, but it's the hardest part of doing the hard work. Beginning, getting started, breaking inertia. Because once you do, and press on for just a bit, momentum kicks in and it all gets easy breezy from there. Well, at least a whole heck of a lot easier. Look, really, just begin and just do anything. If you haven't been off your couch for months, get up and walk around the block once. If you've been eating processed foods for 3 meals a day, go to 2. If your relationship is strained, just say I love you once a day. Anything will make you just a little bit better. Those tiny little improvements start building on top of each other. Then, as promised yesterday, those small, iterative, seemingly insignificant improvements accumulated over time do what? Yeah, they compound into a massive difference in results, outcomes, and lifestyle. What I'm telling you is, it doesn't take much. Look at it this way. If you've been traveling down the same path for a decade and you think, how am I ever gonna get out of this? How can I get out of this rut? Hey, it only takes a little tug on the wheel, right? Just a little tug, right? One from here to here. Now, 100 miles down the road, weeks, years later, your car will be in a whole different destination, miles from where it would have been, by just one little tug of the wheel. One simple change and adjustment. So don't look for the big breakthroughs, just look for and do the little nudges. Each one will change your destination and your destiny. So, nudge your life in a different direction, starting right now, right here this morning. Let us know what you will do in the comments below. Happy Friday, my Darren Daily friends. So one day, Einstein had to speak at an important science conference. On the way there, he tells his driver that looks a little bit like him, I'm tired of all these conferences. I always say the same things over and over. The driver agrees. You're right. As your driver, I attended all of them, and even though I don't know anything about science, by now I could give your conference in your place. That's a great idea, says Einstein. Let's switch places then. So they switch clothes, and as soon as they arrive, the driver dressed as Einstein goes on stage and starts giving the usual speech. while the real Einstein is dressed as the car driver attends in the back. But in the crowd, there is one scientist who wants to impress everyone and thinks of a very difficult question to ask Einstein, hoping he won't be able to respond. So this guy stands up and interrupts the conference by posing his very difficult question. The whole room goes silent, holding their breath, wanting and waiting for their response. The driver looks at him, dead in the eye, and says, "Sir, your question is so easy to answer that I'm gonna let my driver reply to it for me." Pretty good, right? Okay. When NASA was preparing for the Apollo project, some of the training of the astronauts took place on a Navajo reservation. One day, a Navajo elder and his son were herding sheep and came across the space crew. The old man, who spoke only Navajo, asked a question that his son translated. "What are these guys in the big suits doing?" A member of the crew said that they were practicing for their trip to the moon. The old man got all excited and asked if he could send a message to the moon with the astronauts. Recognizing a promotional opportunity, the NASA folks found a tape recorder. After the old man recorded his message, they asked his son to translate it, but his son refused. The NASA PR people brought the tape to the reservation where the rest of the tribe listened and laughed, but refused to translate the elder's message. Finally, the NASA crew called in an official government translator. His translator of the old man's message was, "Watch out for these guys. They have come to steal your land." Okay, have a great weekend, everybody. See you on the flip side.